Welcome to the Kakle. On today's episode, we'll be discussing issues of our lives, our values, diversity, plus Canada. We've all got things to tackle.
Stop playing around.
Thank goodness for the Kakle.
But what's the psychology behind it?
We're all the ladies here.
And she's in the wrong.
For you.
Right? She's blacklisted.
Yeah, I know.
She says she's blacklisted. Is she really
She was
blacklisted?
blackballed. Yeah.
Yeah, they confirmed it.
Lee Daniel informed her that she was.
Why?
Because she didn't play the game right. She did not play the game.
What they wanted promotion of the Oscars, but I think she did right. She wanted the movie in itself to speak for itself. No,
that's stupid. I'm sorry, that is bad business. I was like, you know what?
It's a career limiting movie.
Yes, that made me question her hustle.
What I understood.
We might as well just talk about this right now.
Since we're here.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, we're here. What?
Yeah. So what happened was that when she got nominated, you know
Monique, right?
Yes, Monique. Yes. Mm-hmm. You're supposed to do the whole press junket and stuff like that. Well, she wasn't doing it. And supposedly, they were saying that her husband was outbidding her, so asking for, I guess, too much money in order for her to make certain appearances, probably related to Precious or whatever. I'm not sure on that.
Okay.
And Lee Daniels had basically a lot of the roles that Oprah are playing now. Monique was first dibs, so she was supposed to play in the Butler. And then also just all these things that he does, like I think Empire, everything, because they're good friends. But every time that he brought to the table to have Monique, the executives were just saying, yeah, no, like persona non grata. That means like, she's too hard to work with, can't handle things like that. So right now, her and her husband are doing more independent work. But for me, I questioned her hustle. I was like, you know what? He's right. You were not playing the game. You were not, like, even Oprah. Oprah doesn't have to do press junket, but she still has to because she knows bills have to get paid.
Okay, so you know what?
She has the name and she has to be there.
So fill all the people who don't know what a press junket is. What is being requested of her that she did not do? So I understand clearly and precisely.
Basically, look, if we're telling you to go to Cannes or we're telling you to go to this hotel and sit down for 5 hours and a whole bunch of press is going to come to you to talk about Precious, you need to do it in order to help basically market the movie. And she was not doing any of those things. She, like you said...
that's why she's blackballed, quote unquote, from the Oscars.
Not just the Oscars, but I believe in the business, in the movie business.
Well, I think that's taking it too far. I mean, I have to call it like it is, right? You have all these issues happening in Hollywood with the child rapes and all that, and you can't blacklist those people. But a mistake like this, I mean, like, look, give a person a second chance, I mean, I'm sure she learned, but as far as how they're taking it, really? It's looking a little hypocritical to me because I'm more worried about the child molesters that you're still paying and having me watch on TV. And if I knew, I wouldn't be watching their
music,
or listen to their music. So, I mean, it's taking it too far, I'm sure she probably understands the extent of the decision she made. I'm sure at some point she does regret because she's an actress. She's good at what she does. And to see that you're being limited in showing your skills, getting out there and do what you love to do, I'm sure it's hurting her. But to go this far, really? I think there are other things we can set those examples with.
She's being shunned, yes. I have to agree with Sherley. I know. So let's look at this as a business thing.
Yes.
Right? Because that's what it is. Right? And here's the thing. When you get an Oscar and you get those rewards...
Especially when you're nominated.
It does huge things to your career.
Of course. It's Oscars,
yes. The Oscars know this, right? So knowing that if you win or even being nominated is going to bring you an influx of business, if they want to ask you to show up somewhere for the promotion of the Oscars, it's a kiff-kiff.
It is.
You know what I'm saying? Because the less people watch the Oscars, right, the less people will work. So if they're asking you to help promote the Oscars so that you can get your award or get nominated so that you can make more money, I don't think that's crazy.
No, I'm not saying what she did is right. I wouldn't have pulled a move like that.
It's a career limiting
but
move. It's a choice.
It's a
It
choice.
is a choice,
You know,
yes.
but at the same time, hey, you know what? You're going a little extreme on one end, and when we need you to go extreme, where we see these things popping up, issues that goes against morally our values, there's nothing really being done, and those people are still working and getting paid, and you're shaking hands and sitting at a table breaking bread with them. And meanwhile, listen, she didn't make a good decision. Let's be honest, she didn't.
Right.
Career
But
limiting move.
Yes, because I believe at the time, from what I gathered, she had her talk show on BT, and then she just had twins, which I get. It can, that's that's overwhelming, right? But at the same time, because one of the things when you do get nominated, yes, you start having the Hollywood Reporter, for example, will have I think they do like a web series. Yeah, they do exposés of the nominees, or they do a web series where they interview the upcoming Best Actress nominations or the directors and things like that. So there's all these little things, and yes, not only it helps promote the movie, but like you said, it really helps promote the Academy too.
Yeah.
So it is a give and take. Yeah.
So there's no favors here.
No.
I don't think it's favoritism at all, or, we're asking to, listen, Monique, I'm a big fan, but bad move.
You should
call it like it is. Let's call it like it is. But this is where we have to say,
Shouldn't be
the
forever.
punishment, exactly.
The shunning
It should
The
be
shunning
forever.
should not
No.
last and go as far as this. I think she has learned the importance of doing the press, kits and all that, being there so you can speak to the media.
Tours
Yeah, the
Yeah.
promotional tours and speaking to the media, promote the Oscars. It's a benefit for you. I'm sure now, we've all made a mistake, but one mistake, you're comparing, but I don't know what I want to say, like in the sense of, you have issues with people child molesting, and that's popping up, and they have millions. We continue giving them a career.
But let's be clear, right? Because I get where you're going with that point, and obviously those are much more serious allegations. But as
Yeah.
long as they're allegations, I don't feel they should be punished.
No, I'm not
Either.
saying that. There
But
are
if they're
some that have been
convicted-
punished. Exactly.
If they have been convicted of a crime,
Yeah.
right, then I think we need to reflect more
Yes, definitely.
Exactly.
to what we want to put out there and what
Yeah.
we want to support and promote.
It definitely,
Exactly.
from the interview that I read, and this is on the Hollywood Reporter, because in the interview that was one of the questions. That's how the blackball topic came up, because he was
Funny
saying,
how we call it blackball.
I know, like
Isn't it red ball?
blacklisted,
Purple ball.
Purple ball,
Green
right?
ball.
She's been listed, and
She's been shunned.
she's
Her
been
butt has
shunned.
been
There you go.
deflated.
It was really, the interviewer asking her, since you got nominated, how has things changed? And she asked the question back, well, what do you think it should have been? You know what I mean? And that's how it came off in the interview. And he's like, well, I'm sure that you got a lot more choices and stuff like that. And then she came back like, yeah, well, that's what I thought. So from what I read, you're right. A lot of ignorance, I felt, was on her part of not knowing. And that's what Lee Daniels told her in a way. You didn't play the game. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You just-
Like, people are going to make mistakes, especially, I find we hold celebrities to a whole different level and criticism, in the sense of, not criticism, I don't want to say, because, we're not really criticizing, but we hold them to different standards is what I want to say. And that's really, really unfair. You know what? The same people that are criticizing, let's see how many mistakes you have made and how many second chances you have earned. So therefore, you know what? Stars are human. They make mistakes. I don't think we need to go this far in shunning her. I think, I don't think even blacklisted. Listen, if you want to blacklist someone maybe for like 1 year of the Oscars or two, fine. But when you're trying to do it permanently and all
that
avenues
is,
of their career, really, it's looking a little childish. I'm calling it like
It
I
is.
see
It is.
Also, even if it was in quote unquote real life, in the business world, right? If you had a manager that refused to talk to employees, they would be fired. and it would be permanent.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I listened to your comment about how he and Tanisha and I are going to be on two different sides of the table today. We can find a subject we will be on the same side for. But if we're looking at stars and so forth, she's still doing independent work. She's still working.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I think that stars and celebrities do get more chances than the regular Joe on the street.
Yeah.
You mess up once, you're out. Once majorly enough. You know what I mean?
But
There's
you know what? No, but then what's the definition of majorly? Because we could list how many artists that really have pushed it to the limit and they're still making money.
Beating on an
therefore,
ex-girlfriend.
exactly. You know, so therefore, it's
Pissing
like,
on a
Which is
underage
interesting
girl.
because it brings us to the for instance in the NFL who has the code of conduct, which now they're really enforcing
To the
And
players?
big
Well,
time.
they shouldn't be to the whole entire
You know what?
organization,
I'm
not
gonna-
just the players, right?
Listen, NFL, listen, they train these guys to be so aggressive to get on the field. If you hear sometimes, you know, like I've managed a football team and I've seen, I mean, not all coaches do this. But if you see how aggressive and how they talk to some of these players, I mean, at some point, I even have to say it's almost abusive. Mm-hmm. It's almost abusive. And it's like you're abusing someone for a certain amount of time and they go home and they can't shut that off. I'm not saying what they're doing is right. I'm not justifying what they're doing because it's wrong. But look who they're protecting, the players. The money's always behind the players. Money speaks. Where are the morals? Where are the morals that, you know what, you're an NFL player, you're a sports player, you're going to be a role model for somebody. Understand the image and what that means. So we can't catch you doing this and that and that. Not, oh, we catch you doing this and that and that. We're going to pay your way and sweep it under the rug. They've been doing that for years.
And they just shouldn't be role models. And there shouldn't be an assumption that they're going to be role models. I think parents need to look and say, look, yes, this person worked really hard and had a career, but that's not how I want you modeling yourself. I want you modeling yourself against Uncle Joe or your father or your grandfather or something like that. Real people.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It's
I think
true.
we there's no room for someone to make an athlete a role model from which they should build their lives from, because they too are human. And you're not close enough to be able to say, hey, this is a good role model, or I should model myself against this person. I think you should model yourself against a person, or you should take into account the fact that this person worked really hard in school and worked really hard at their sport and has achieved some kind of level and status. But I think that's where it stops. Go back and look at Uncle Joe, who babysat you and took you to all the sports things and all those kinds of things, and model yourself against those types of things.
You know what? I totally agree, because I remember my younger years, just the other day, as we all say. I did a paper when I was in high school, and they asked me who was my role model, and I named my mother and my aunt, because to me, these were the most, to me, in my life, who I saw strong women who define the essence of being a woman and handling what life throws at them and still trying to balance. And they did a darn good job. So anybody I'm going to look up to is these two women. And I remember my teacher was shocked, and she's like, well, I'm more meant to celebrity. He's like, yeah, they are the celebrity to me. I don't need anything else.
In a way that you would recognize that.
And appreciate their hard work and their struggles, and, you know, not take it for granted.
Yeah.
You know,
because you have millions of dollars in your bank account that all of a sudden you're someone you want to, you know, manifest yourself as.
And it's true. And this is one conversation I've had with my son too, because, you know, he was a big Miami Heat fan. I don't know which fan he is now. All the players get transferred and shifted and all that. I don't know which team is his team, but I remember, you know, LeBron James, like every other little boy and girl out there, LeBron James, yes, he's a good player. But I said to him, how many other players who didn't have the same opportunities as LeBron, you know, that are out there who could be better than LeBron? Yeah. They're no less. They're no less. And we have to teach our kids in the sense that, you know, like, it's not the one with the money and because he's on TV. Sometimes it's looking at their pathway through life and seeing how they got through it would make you look at them different and say, wow, I look up to you. How did you do that? And yes, it does start with home. It starts with the uncles, the moms, and teaching your kids these values, and not to what I call glorify the celebrity life and or to wrap your whole purpose and meaning around life around money and materialistic things.
Doesn't mean that we don't appreciate or respect.
Yeah, 'cause
Exactly. It doesn't mean it at all.
it's hard
No.
work to get
But
to where they're
there's so
at.
much more than that in defining, what you want to emulate in life.
Sorry, I'm just gonna, one little step. I remember taking my son to a basketball event, and I'm not gonna, name anything, but I remember there was a group of people next to us, and they had an NBA baller that came back, and he's, trying to do stuff with the community, which was really great. And the group next to me were so negative. Because why? You're not the top. You're not the MVP. You're not. And it got me so angry inside. I just said it. I turned to my husband, but I said it out loud for them to hear it. And I said, you know what? I don't see them with an NBA contract. So the peanut gallery needs to stay quiet. Because you know what? That man or boy worked hard to get where they have gotten. And I'm proud of their achievement. Yeah. And we're celebrating that. But the peanut gallery that were to the left of me, y'all know who you are. And I'm not impressed up to today. That's a low blow, and there are kids around. So what values are you teaching those kids when they walk by and hear you're being that negative instead of appreciating someone's struggle? That's how I look at it. I'm very down to earth and humble. I look at the basics, what makes us who we are. And that's what I celebrate.
I always look at it as, what is it that you leave behind after you've left the room?
That too. Mm-hmm.
And that's where the definition of value comes from for me.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
I like that. How did you, I mean, it's like, who is it? Maya Angelou? People remember how you made them feel all the time, more than anything.
Yeah, that's your legacy. Right? So I always try to say, okay, once I leave the room, what am I leaving behind? And I try to define my actions accordingly. Most of the times it works out.
We're not robots. We are people.
You have to remember that. At the end of the day, we're all human. We will make mistakes. Everyone is entitled to be forgiven, whether by us or the man above. I call it two problems.
Or lady.
Or lady. There you go. Yes, sorry. Sorry.
Equal opportunity.
Right. My mother's going to call me on that one.
I got you.
I know. Thanks, Mom. Thanks. All right. I'm getting a call at 8 o'clock sometime tonight. I'm just letting you guys know I'm not sleeping. I'm getting a lecture for this.
But maybe it'll give a kiff because you also gave her a major compliment.
No, but you know what? My mother is so humble.
Tanisha's got a lot of mom and aunt points right now.
Wrap them up. No, but
don't ruin it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to ruin it. But it's funny because I talk about my mom and my aunt and how much they've played a role in my upbringing and how I see life, how I see people in life. And when I try to go to them and tell them thank you, they refuse to take it. They're like, leave me alone. And it's like, but appreciate. Your daughter's trying to say, wow, you women are amazing in my family. I'm proud of you. No, they're humble. And it makes me want to be even more humble. Like I appreciate that. I don't know what to say.
This is a message
I
from
love you, Mom.
Auntie. Take it.
Yes.
When someone says thank you,
say you're welcome.
It in.
That's all you
take
it in.
And it doesn't make you less humble.
True.
I think humility is one thing, but humility I don't think means that you need to deny the contributions or the impacts you've made in other people's life. If someone wants to turn around and say thank you because you did something good, just shut your mouth and say thank you.
I know.
And just take it in.
Well, she does. She does take it afterwards. I give her the bear hug and plant like the big kiss on her where she can't get away, and then she's fighting, like for survival. Right, she's fighting for. It's like somebody's coming after her. It's like I'm your daughter. Like hello, just saying. So but no, I can't kiss her all the time. It's kind of like my son too.
Is your mom a mush just like you? Was she like? Do you remember growing up?
My mother would tell you I'm really a sensitive. Yeah, I'm a mush. I'm sensitive.
Yeah.
I'll go and give you that hug and cry with you and go okay. And my mother be sitting next to me and rolling her eyes, going, "Really, taking it that far?" Yeah, that one's out the ballpark.
It's funny because we've known each other for a few years now. And I always, because I know how she is, right? So I'll be like, okay, you need to stay 5 feet away.
So you weren't a mush.
I'm learning the mushiness.
I'm learning too.
I think I'm an undercover mush.
Yeah.
Yes, right? She is.
Highly selective in my mushiness. And if I'm not mushy with you, it doesn't mean I don't like you.
Yeah,
but I'm tapping into the mushy part.
It's crazy because with my daughter, the middle one, I'm not gonna princess. You know who you are. She's
Yes, two daughters.
Princess and baby hurricane. 'Cause I'm afraid of her. So forced to be reckoned with. But I see with my middle one, she's a mush. But there's an aspect of her that I was like that, and I really made myself just kind of nope, cannot be a mush. So I really try to embrace that with her, because with me growing up, it was really it was like, stop it, and then eventually I grew where I had to stop.
We were taught not to be mushy.
Yeah, I was really taught big time not to be mushy.
Well, no, I was not that I wasn't taught. My mother just knows, okay.
But
my mother's like, what happened to this child?
Yeah.
She's a mush. But you're my trait.
Yeah.
But
your mother, good job on mom really with you, because she didn't,
Beat the niceness out of you.
Yeah, she respected that that's who you are, and she didn't try to pull that out of you, for me, it was really just, because I used to cry about anything when I was a kid. Anything, an ant could be an apple lands on an ant, and I'm like, oh, the ant, it was a lot.
Well, I'm sensitive.
I'm
sensitive, and I wear the crown, but I don't go that far.
I was far. I was like, whoo, and but it was just too much, and because my mom is not a mush whatsoever. And so with her, I could see those. It's crazy how she made me remind myself of oh my gosh, I was like that, And sometimes I have these tendencies because of the way I was raised, to kind of mush, you better quit that mush right now. Yeah. And I'm like, no, I can't do that. So I learned to be mushy in a way again through her, just, but.
We're unlearning.
Yeah.
My parents weren't not mushy or anything like that. My father was a little more conservative, but my mom was a huge mush.
Yeah.
A huge mush. But my anti-mushiness came from life. It was life experience.
Yeah, same here.
And responsibility and the weight of leadership that made me have to focus more on, keeping things balanced and getting things done than being in touch with my mushiness. So now it's about relearning that.
I could teach you.
And
sorry, I just had to say that. I'm sorry.
But I'm learning to because it becomes a reflex.
Yes.
Right? And so you don't want to push people away either.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of relearn to take it in.
Well, that's what
You
Sanka
close your
does.
eyes as you're saying that.
No, but seriously, she does
I
that.
don't really do that.
Really?
I do it less now.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, it was difficult because people would just touch my arm and I would cringe.
I
didn't like anybody touching me.
I'm raising my hand right now.
Are you serious?
Oh,
I
yeah,
feel like
it
giving
was
you
really
two bear
bad.
hugs right now.
Watch it.
Oh. No, but I remember one time, I'm not going into detail, and you were going through something, and I saw it on her face, and I just said, you want to give a friend that hug to let them know they're not alone?
Yeah.
And she gave me that look. Like a tiger, look at your pet when your pet doesn't want you to pet.
That's on the tree.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't care.
The panther's like, don't you climb that tree to give me
and you know
to pet
what?
my head.
And I'm like, Dennis diminished the girl version, so I don't care. I'll get into trouble. I'm like, you know what? I'm risque. I hugged her anyway, and she just closed up and stood there like if I was just hugging a pole. I was like, I don't care. You're gonna love me.
And that's TT. Like, you're gonna love me and rob me.
What's it? Yeah.
And then
That cartoon?
Exactly. And then
All
after,
over.
she thought she got over it. She's like, okay, I got through the Tanisha hug. Okay, we're great. And then my son comes, and it's like round 2, ding.
It's very hard to keep control when someone is being mushy and you're trying to be strong.
Yes.
So stop it.
I'm here for you. That's all. That's all I was showing.
Oh my gosh. But it's interesting too. It's how is that an aspect of that's in your DNA too?
No. It was taught.
Okay.
It was life that taught me that.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's not my family because my grandmother was super mushy. And my grandmother though could be mushy with me and I always felt safe. Right? But there was a large one of my things is about feeling safe.
Yeah, I hear you.
That is a challenge for me on a constant basis.
Same here. I had to really teach myself because I've always had in the back of my head, due to circumstances and, life sometimes throws you a huge ass brick or meteor and you're like, what is that?
Yeah.
And especially when you're small, that really shakes you. So for me, I always had I still battle with this, but it's minimized so much where it's like the other shoe's going to drop feeling all the time. And that's the worst growing up like that, like just to carry that with you.
I never thought the other shoe was going to drop. I just knew I needed to be strong enough because something was going to happen. And no one was going to save me. So I needed to be on point.
Yeah.
And so that made me solid.
Okay.
Right? It made me stand very firmly with my 2 feet on the ground. But that meant there was no room for mushy. Right? Because I had to keep the game face on.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Basically.
Yeah.
And trust me, in my life, there was no time.
Right.
There was a lot of stuff to deal with, and it had to be dealt with now.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do that. But I didn't expect impending doom. I just didn't expect anybody to save me. I knew that wasn't going to happen.
What do you do now to counter that? Like to kind of, time
well,
to...
now I was so independent and resourceful. I know I can take care of myself. And it's funny, because then the people around you realize that you can take care of yourself, so they're less concerned. You know what I mean? There's less attention spent. Not that you're asking for attention, but they're like, man, she can take care of it. She'll be all right. So there's no encouragement. There's no anything like that, because they figure you got that on point. But what they don't realize is that it gets a little bit heavy. Right? And so... And again, no bad people. Yeah. No bad guys. Nobody has negative intentions or anything like that. It's just that when the world requires a lot of our attention in a lot of different directions. So if you can save yourself from having to deal with certain things, because that person's got it under control. I'm going to focus on this part, this part, and this part. Then that person ends up being someone who's always looking for that place where they can put their head down. You know what I mean? Where they can be,
Yeah.
You drive the bus.
I'll put my feet up.
No, but it is true when you look at it. Because how many times I've broken down to my mom. I'm sure my mom is saying this, Lord have mercy. I wish this child would lose my number. Because when I can't go through there are times, not everything. There are times we revert back, to... like our parents or whoever or somebody is that basically, listen, my mother knew when she had me, it was a life sentence to all parents. We know this is a life sentence. I know. We figured it out now.
It's just like my mom
when
said.
They don't leave at 45, a pretty big indication.
Exactly. In the period of the adolescence, well, that's maximum prison. Okay. That's where you're like, wow, I'm really locked up in this. I call my mom, they're not all the time. I'm not like, call my mom 1,500 times a day or something, but in life, there are times you're thrown these things that, you just need that reinforcement to know, like, listen, I got this sometimes. And there are times I go to my mother, I'm like, my mother didn't understand what I said. I know half the time probably she wasn't listening. There was a show on TV. But you know what? She ended
when I stop hearing something else.
Yeah, but I don't hear the But you know what? At the same time, she just reinforces that, same thing you said. You got this. I have faith in you. And then after, you know what? You hang up the phone, and then after all of a sudden, all women go through this. We have this warrior that just reappears. You feel her coming. All of a sudden, you're like, yeah, I got this. You watch out now. And then that's where you need to pray.
See, there should be a line called "You Got This." 1-800 "You Got This" that you call, because sometimes, unfortunately, life will give you family call the cackle, but 1-800 "You Got This" or the cackle, but it's like just somebody just saying it's okay.
Our own personal cheerleader.
You got this, Oh, that'd be awesome. Can they walk along
I think
side with us?
Pockets. Remember those pocket pets? right? And we had to electronically feed them. What was it called?
I remember. Oh my
And
God.
then they would die, and you'd be like, oh.
Because I don't know one person who kept that electronic pet alive for quite a while.
No,
I would be impressed.
I never did. I remember. No.
So you need a little cheerleader.
Yes.
When you take it out of the park, you push the button, you got this.
Yes.
You rock.
Yeah.
Put your hat on, warrior. Get out there. You know, it's so true. I think that would help a lot of people. How many times?
Wouldn't that be an awesome, like even an app where you could like people volunteer to do Facebook time with you. Like not Facebook time, but FaceTime, I mean, on your phone, and just show up and say, oh, hi, you got this.
It's like Dr. Phil's thing where he has doctor on demand. This would be friend on demand.
There you go. I like that idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great idea right there.
Mm-hmm. Copyright of the
Kakle.
Yes, it's copywritten and trademarked by the Kakle. Just so you know. Oh, okay. We're going to take a break and we'll continue our conversation.
Let's see. But you know what? I have to say, in all fairness, playing mass many years, and I see people get on the truck. And to anyone who doesn't know what mass is, it's when you're the masquerader wearing the costume in the Caribbean Carnival. And how many times I see a lot of people intoxicated. They're getting on the truck while it's moving, and then oops, slip, and you fall underneath.
When you're intoxicated, you're just smart.
Not smart to do that. Because most sober
Sarcasm in
people,
voice.
I'm telling you, I'm saying, but most smart people would say there's always an official next to the truck who's in communication with the truck driver, and the truck driver looks to make eye contact with that person to know whether to stop the truck if there's anything. And usually when they see a group of people, they'll tell you, if you're just wait 1 second. The truck driver will look in the side mirror, or he'll actually stick his head out looking, because the truck is rolling slow, and he'll stop the truck and he'll wait for the okay before he takes off. But you got some ignorant, stubborn people that think Superman is their best friend and Batman is going to come to save them. And they pull these moves, and you see them jump off the truck, and it's moving, and the trucks jerk when they first take off and when they stop. And it's like, you can't.
Manual.
Oh, no, but I'm saying, like, seriously, if anyone has ever seen this and watched some, the spectators who jump across the lines and get on the trucks and they're intoxicated, you'll see and can understand exactly what I'm talking about. It's just stupid. I would never do it.
Here's a good rule of thumb. Don't stand and dance right next to the wheel.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I was at the one in New York quite some time ago. And that's exactly what someone did. And so because everybody's dancing and jumping and moving around, you're so close to the wheel and you're so close to the truck, then as soon as you trip on anything and fell right under the truck.
Well, yeah, because a lot of the trucks,
we won't go into what happened next.
No, I don't want to know.
A good number of the trucks and the bands, they do appoint what we call marshals. And the marshals, you always see them with this long stick walking next to the truck. And they usually try to make themselves the barrier.
They beat people who are behaving.
Sometimes we want to do that.
Sometimes I think that's needed.
So tempted.
Sometimes I'm like,
I can see it now.
So close.
Sometimes especially like in Toronto.
Yes, and it's not easy, and a lot of the people that come, they don't realize you're doing this for their safety. And you're trying to keep a certain distance from the wheel, because I'm just saying that truck rolling over you, your chances of survival.
But why don't we get to a point with these carnivals, like from Caravana to here, Cari Fiesta?
Yeah.
Why don't we have gates almost like it's the Indy 500 or something, like the same gates? But you know what?
Well, no, you know what? The point of Carnival, look, the whole theme of Carnival comes from the islands, right? It's our whole, our history, our culture. And when you look even in the islands, they do gate off certain parts allow people to see the costumes before the whole crowd gets involved and you can't see the creativity behind the costumes. So they do have it. But at some point, you can only control people so much. I've seen people break the fences that the city has put up and ran in. And then you're looking at the cop over there going, excuse me, over here, invasion.
They're too distracted with so much booty. That's the problem.
Booty.
They're like,
exactly.
what?
They're like, what?
I'm sorry, I just never seen so much booty in my life before.
But no, it's true. So we can't just put it on the carnival committees. And I'm not blaming the police officers saying they're not doing their job, because it is a hard job to watch that many people. Let's be realistic.
I saw the YouTube video with the police that started getting down.
But you know what? But you know what? When it's your culture, you can't help. There's some songs. There are some songs that just get the foot moving.
I know you could just can't.
That's exactly how you started out. It was like a tap.
It was a tap.
Right? And then he just ended up throwing down.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't.
If anyone has not seen this video, the video is on YouTube.
Was
it's
that
of an Ontario police officer who I think was working
got down for the showdown.
Yeah, and if you need to Google it, Ontario police officer getting down at a festival. And I mean, it was priceless. It was really funny and cute. You know,
I think he was interviewed too. I think they interviewed him.
And he was suspended thereafter.
Was he really? No,
I hope not, because, you know, we want more police officers. Listen, there are great officers doing their job who do get out there and keep everyone safe, and we have to, you know, be respectful to the job the police officer has to do. It's a lot of people to have to watch. That is. You know, like, people have issues watching their own two kids, but you're expecting to criticize a police officer that has to watch all these people.
1 minute.
Exactly.
And they rob the bank.
Exactly. And that's all it takes. So you have people that do break the fences. It's beyond the police. And they do try to keep control. And they do go in to remove everybody out, you know. So it's not all the police officers, just not the band members. How about the people? You be respectful. Carnival's a show. Enjoy the show. If you want to be part of it, there are many bands. You can go buy the costumes and join in the fun and learn about it, you know. But leave it to the masqueraders. They're giving you a show. They're celebrating their culture and trying to present something to you. Mm-hmm. That's how I look at it.
Let's get to the first line of defense.
Let's get there.
Okay. So here's the situation.
Break it down.
My boyfriend and I have extremely different schedules. I work at an office.
Welcome to my life.
I work at an office daily 9 to 5. He's a server working weeknights from 5 p.m. Whenever the place closes. Our daily routine is that after he gets off work, he'll call me. I go pick him up. It's a 5-minute drive. This usually throws off my schedule for getting a decent night of sleep, seeing as how I would honestly like to be in bed by 11 p.m. But for most nights, I guess, I don't leave to get him until after midnight. Okay, we get the whole picking it up. Mm-hmm. We've been together for 4 years, and we are moving to New York this summer after a good 3 years of planning and saving to do so. Every night after his shift, after the servers clock out, management gives them a free drink. But lately, past 6 months, it is getting out of hand. I've gone early to pick him up before and have noticed he has a way more than the complimentary drink. It's turned into him drinking and mucking it up with his coworker for at least an hour before he calls me and lets me know that I should be on my way to pick him up. I've communicated this to him and he tells me I don't understand because I'm not a server anymore. Any discussion after this is usually stopped because I just don't have the energy to try to help him understand it from my point of view. In all honesty, I wouldn't mind if this is the lifestyle he wants to live, if he would be honest and upfront with me about it. If he called me and said, I'm going to be drinking, I'll catch a ride home, but it's never that. Even though I stopped drinking a few years ago, I told him 2 months ago that if he wanted to do something after work on the weekends, I wouldn't go out for drinks with him when he gets off his shift. And that and that has never happened. It's just been more of the same. The restaurant closes at 11, then I get a shitty side work, but this happens every night. What I'm wondering is, 1, am I being unreasonable? 2, what can I say to him to try to help him understand my point of view? I'm feeling hopeless about everything.
Don't pick him up.
Give him some taxi money. Let him pay for his own taxi or give him taxi
real.
money. You know what? Let's all be fair. Okay,
Yes.
There's two sides, right? I mean, you have to allow. I mean, everybody after work. You know, we want to unwind. You get along with your colleagues. You know, sometimes after a long day, you want to, and I understand that she wants her time. Schedule that time. Mm-hmm. Allow men to have their men time. They need it as much as women need the woman time. And a lot of women infringe, and when the men go on the men time, they're freaking out. No, I want time for me. No. Pick a day and you let them know that's our day, or these are our days. And the other days, go hang out with your friend. Men need to bond. You know, let's be honest. Men need to bond. You know, like,
but have limits too. Don't do it every single night.
You have to be reasonable. So really what it is sitting down. You know what? You want him to understand what you're saying? Let him know the nights. And the day he tries to, the night he tries to come home late after hanging with his friends, put on that nice lingerie. Okay? Sit on the bed and you go, honey, I want to have a conversation with you. Watch how fast he's tuning in. Oh, he's tuning in. And then you let him know the effect. And then you let him know, this is what you could have had, but let me show you what you're going to get. Go put on your sweats and come back out and sit back in front of him and go, this is what you deserve. I need some time too. I'll allow you to have your meal time. I need time. But she needs to communicate that to him in the sense of letting him know, okay, listen, this day, that's for us. I have no problem you going to hang with your friends and, your coworkers after work. People have to be, it's a give and take. It's a give and take. You have to be reasonable, but you also have to communicate.
I want to know if that time that she goes to pick him up originally was the reason she was going to pick him up was because they had opposite schedules. This was their time together. And so that became their ritual because that was the time they got to spend together. Because that says something totally different.
Yes.
Right? And then I want to know, is he working 7 days a week?
Right.
I'm sure not 7 days a week.
Exactly. Yeah. So she has the other days.
Yeah.
Third thing is they obviously have different lifestyles.
Yeah.
True.
Right?
Definitely.
She seems a lot more conservative and on the regular, life type of lifestyle. I'm also curious to know how old she is.
Oh,
they're like 23 or 24.
Yeah. He's 29 and she is 27.
Oh,
okay. So she's
God
ready
bless
to
her
nest,
heart.
and he's still having a good time.
At 20, yeah.
So they're on two different pages.
Exactly.
Right? And he's enjoying
And their
himself.
industry too, whatever she does and whatever he does, obviously it's a much more nightlife kind of.
Basically.
Yeah.
So it's either you're going to have to suck it up, little soldier, right? And understand that if you want to be with him, he's living a different lifestyle.
Exactly.
I hope he's not cheating on her or anything like that. If he's really just having chance of unwinding afterwards, that's fine. Except that he's making a choice, right? If that's become one of his priorities, if he's doing it every day, then that's become more important than the time they had designated to bond together.
And then she should
reevaluate.
reevaluate.
Have together,
Right, and from she was saying that I guess before she had a job just like he did, obviously as a server, and now she has a much more conservative job. She's minimized on the drinking aspect, and he's still, doing it after work. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But that's what I'm saying.
Maybe she's just not important enough at this.
You know
point
what?
in
I
his
don't think
life.
it is. You know what? I don't think it is. Listen. My hubby goes out with his friends, and I let him go out. I just tell him, be responsible if you're drinking too much. I'm not coming to pick you up.
We're
buddy.
not talking about going out twice a week or something like that. This is what
This
he
is
does
every
every day.
after he's
this
finished
is what
his
I'm trying to
shift.
say.
Yeah,
I'm trying to show the difference. A healthy relationship, you have to let a guy go out, have his
Absolutely.
time.
Totally.
Like I tell my hubby, you go out, have fun. I'm not picking you up though. You be responsible and take a taxi
I
home.
might pick you up.
No, but I'm saying, no, I mean, have fun. I don't want to see you intoxicated and have to pick you up and listen to the story on the way home. That's what I'm saying. Let the taxi driver hear that. Sorry, guys. But at the same time, when it gets to this point and it's every day, then she has to sit down and reevaluate her relationship. She's still very young. Mm-hmm. You still have a lot of growing to do. And I'm sure the guy loves her.
I'm sure he
But
cares
right
about her. I'm not sure he
now,
loves
where
her.
he's at in his life, I think they need to open up that door to communication, sit down and talk and say, okay, listen, this is what I'm okay with. I'm not feeling comfortable with what you're doing. It's daily.
But
Yeah.
didn't
issue.
she say she did that?
Well, here's what
several
happened.
times?
Some of the comments, like the first thing that you said, problem solved. Don't pick him up. And she said
Yeah.
we would never see each other and that's from a lot of the comments of just don't pick him up. He would come home drunk every night.
Okay, the drunk part, no. I mean,
that's
every
if
night,
her
no.
not picking him up. That's what she believes. I would be jealous that he didn't want to spend time with me. But the truth is, his actions after I stop, I guess she's talking about the drinking, would probably be enough to make me realize the truth in the entire situation. So yes, that would probably solve the problem about not picking him up. So she feels like he's not respecting her time.
He's just not that into you. No, really, they're at different stages in their life.
Yeah.
Right? And he has the right to live that life if he wants to. She used to live that way, but she flipped the script, not in a bad way, but she flipped the script when she changed her lifestyle because she got a different kind of job, which is okay. Which means that now she's at this part of her life and he's at this part of it, and he's liking where he's at.
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And she's tried, from what you're telling me, she's tried to talk to him several times. He is very happy in the little life that he's living.
Well, if you've made that...
you need to decide.
Exactly.
You're right. It's a lifestyle situation.
Do you want to stick with this or do you want to leave?
Exactly.
You know, so at that point, that's why I say everything is just, everything is a process. So that's why I said, listen, guys are going to go out. This is what guys do.
Girls are going to go out too.
Girls are going to go out too. No, I'm not saying just guys, but I'm saying girls will go out too. Let's not go extreme. But at the same time, if it's really bothering you, sit down and communicate with that person. If they really love you, they're hearing you. And sometimes, and for this young lady,
drunk,
right? Don't get me. He just wants to go to bed.
You know what I'm saying? Like, all timing is everything, little girl.
Right.
All he's hearing is Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah. And all he's saying is, if I could only
you
just
look
get...
really cute, no sweats.
She's like, I don't have time for this.
No, but
not hearing me is what she's saying.
Yes.
And what he wants to answer, I'm intoxicated.
Give her another 10 years, she'll get it.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what? But it's just unfortunate, but she has to just reevaluate if she really wants to stick this out or it's time for her to go. And obviously it's bothering her, so...
Yeah, because she feels neglected from, reading some other things here, is that on the weekends, because of that, the weekdays, he works fairly late. So, and then he stays even later to drink. And so by the weekends, he's exhausted, and what he's doing mostly is just sleeping. And her weekends are her time off, obviously. And so she feels neglected. She feels like they're not spending time.
And here's the thing about women. Many women, not all women, right? I don't happen to be like that, but I get it. She feels that she's sacrificing her sleep, right?
Being his chauffeur.
And being exhausted and everything like that. So she feels like she's making this major sacrifice in order to spend time, which proves how much she loves and cares about him. And he turns around and drinks and snorts and turns around and goes to sleep. And she's like, but wait.
Welcome to relationships.
Yes.
But that's the thing. You have a relationship. It's all a negotiation. Are you buying?
It is. And that's the biggest thing. She needs to this negotiating time. It's time to, create that understanding, like, okay, look, I cannot pick you up all the time.
Exactly.
Make sure you save some money on the side to grab a cab if you're going to keep doing this. Or at least come at a time where you're not going to be spending the rest of the weekend sleeping. You could still do it, but don't overdo it.
That's it. And if I go pick you up, understand that I'm not doing it necessarily out of the kindness of my heart. I'm doing it because it's the only time we get to spend every day together. So it would really be good if you were tuned in.
Right.
You know what? But that's sad because
that's
sad because if the only time listen, they're home on weekends, so it's not the only time. But the only time you can find is when you're in the car. Really?
That's a problem.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah.
I got the radio playing in my car. That's not the time I really want to go into full-fledged conversations of lecturing and, really?
No, you don't want that. You want that to be a bonding time. And the thing is, I can't judge that the bonding time that they have is designated to the car ride home from work, right? Because people are living really extreme lives sometimes, and the time that you have is a time that you can find, right? So if that is the only time they can find, right? And she's ready to sacrifice sleep and things like that in order to try and keep a connection. Because it's all about connections, right? So you find that you get creative and you try to find whatever way you can connect with each other. And in their case, given the circumstances, that's what seems to be what has sort of kind of not anymore worked for them.
Right.
No, but it's making the time. And you know what? In all fairness, with all technology and everything we have, okay, that cuts down the time you would have allotted just for that communication, that bonding time. You have to make that time. You have to make sure, listen, him taking a nap, okay, it's a nap. It's not going 8 hours. We're not saying full-fledged sleep, session. So he's going to wake up and you let him know, listen, honey, I'm going to let you take your nap. But when we wake up, I like for us to try something new. And I'm sure he's probably going to be like, because he's not
knocked out.
Don't worry, it registered. Men actually hear us. I think sometimes as women we overdo and we're like,
Well, sometimes
behind
they
them,
don't
but they
understand
actually
us,
hear.
but they hear us.
They do hear us.
They're like, like
Sometimes you have
headlight.
to guide them, but they do hear us. So I think it's a matter of making time. You do have the weekend.
And if a guy cares about you, honestly,
He'll
he'll
make the
want
time
you to be happy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
He'll
he'll
make the
try
time
to do what he can to be able to do that. So if in all this time, and she made a point that they moved from New York.
Yes.
So the assumption, right, is you moved to New York with your boyfriend, so you both had to find new jobs.
Yeah.
Right?
They're
That's
moving
correct.
to New
So-
York this summer. Yeah.
Okay, so if they're moving to New York in the summertime, that might be the opportunity to have a discussion about, well, since you're going to be looking for
Definitely.
another job,
Yes.
you might want to look for a daytime job. And if that's not okay with you, maybe I need to not move to New York with you.
There
Because
you go.
before you start moving, if you're in that place right now, emotionally,
You
and
need
as
to
far
really
as your
think about it
relationship,
This
and
is an
you need to
opening
communicate.
the door.
fix that
Yeah.
Exactly.
before you go to New York.
Exactly.
True.
Just
True.
saying.
So, I mean, it's no reason to break up, but this is definitely a lifestyle discussion.
It might
that they
be a
need
reason to
have.
break up. Because if he's really wanting to live that lifestyle and she's really
True.
comfortable in her job, or working daylight hours,
Yeah.
Yeah.
then lifestyle is huge.
But
I've broken up in relationships because our lifestyles are just not the
Too
same.
much. Yeah.
yeah,
And it's
that's
okay
fair.
for them. They
And
can have whatever lifestyle
you're right.
they want.
Sometimes you
Yeah,
can
and
care.
that's fair.
Yeah, you're right. You could care for someone, but there might not be that lifestyle flexibility on both sides that you just like, it's just not going to work out.
Like
No,
I
and
can-
you have to be honest to yourself about it too. There's only so much, right? If someone loves you, they will meet you halfway.
Yeah.
Or
And
somewhere.
understand to this young lady, listen, men are going to be men.
Yeah. It
Okay?
sounds like he's not meeting her halfway.
He's not
obviously.
meeting her halfway. You need to have
Why
the
should-
conversation.
Why should he? He's doing everything he wants to do with no consequence.
Yeah, because
Every
she
once in a while,
still
he
picks
hears
him
little
up.
things in
But
his
he's
ears.
at that age at the same time. They're in their 20s. How many of us have done some really dumb things and we look back, even relationship-wise, and say, wow, that was not smart. Because a lot of men will grow out of it. And when you have that talk, and you know what? I can guarantee she's going to have that talk with him. Okay? I'm sure the guy appreciates her and loves her and cares. He's going to show it if he really means it.
Yeah, this move,
When
like
he
you
sees
said,
the
could make it-
bags about to be packed and heading for the door,
Yeah.
the brakes are going to go on and say, whoa. Like,
Or they might not.
And if
We
they
might
don't,
end
well
up
then-
looking and saying that she's a relationship of convenience,
well then
comfort,
face-
and not the love of his life.
listen,
so to speak.
face it for what it is. And then if that's the case, move on.
Yeah, especially like
Let
you
it go.
mentioned
Move on.
that they're about to move. So this move could make or break them.
Yeah. And they need to talk about this definitely before the move.
Like
Before.
before,
Yeah, don't be
like
moving.
before moving in together, like before all of these moving to a different city. Or
Exactly.
Yes.
Before you go and confirm you have a job. There you go, in the next city. Please have that conversation.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Because they have a big obstacle to kind of overcome, and it's a relationship. Obviously, seeing each other eye to eye, meeting halfway, and they need to have a conversation. So please, before you move, Lord have mercy.
Yes. Anything else we want to talk about, ladies? Anything in the news? Special questions, Sanka? I love your special questions. Questions that makes you go, what?
It's so funny. Okay, I'm going to tell you something. I spoke to an ex this week, right? And I asked him the question about if this was the last time we were going to talk, have to be a special man to deal with me. If this was the last time we were going to talk, what do you absolutely want me to know about how you feel about me?
Ooh.
I had to ask the question 3 times before he understood what I was saying. I think it's more because it gives them time to think about the response.
That's what I was going to say. I was about to say, no, he heard you. He was just trying to think.
Oh my
Which
gosh,
is okay.
But he answered me.
And that's the most important.
What he said was so awesome. I had a really rough week this week.
Aww.
Okay, and I kept going back to the text and saying, oh yeah, okay.
What did he say? I'm
So
curious
I
now.
thank him so much for
I'm
what
curious.
he
What
said.
did he say?
I'm not telling you in case he's listening. It doesn't matter. I didn't specify who.
Good
he knows
job,
who he
guy.
is, and I'm super, super grateful.
Don't worry, I'm going to find it. I'm going to give you your props.
It was awesome. It was an awesome thing. Like, I was like, oh, yeah.
You know what? Back to that reassurance. It's funny. As humans, we need that reassurance. Sometimes just having that message. I'm telling you, maybe ladies, the app is a good idea.
Yeah.
That reassurance. You can do this.
But there's something about someone who's an ex. You know what I'm saying? It's like you've been in a relationship. The relationship is over. Now you're friends. And when you hear something so nice, and it, like, he wasn't blowing smoke out of his ears.
Yeah.
Right? It was actually what he said made sense. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It felt true and genuine. And when you read it, if you know me, you'll be like, okay, I get it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right? And there's something to be said about an ex being able to do that. You know what I mean? After the fact.
Mm-hmm. That's a whole different level of friendship.
That is.
That a lot of people acquire to have. Because you know what? That's what brings two people together is the friendship. If you do it right. Mm-hmm. You know, so to have that, the friendship should still be there even after the relationship is gone. I mean, no one's saying you got to be chummy, but you could be civil. You could be there as a friend. And I think that's the beauty.
It was an amazing thing he did for me.
Good job, amazing guy.
Giving classes. Just joking.
I didn't say he was perfect. He was ex.
Good job, amazing guy.
Joking,
I'm going to repeat.
Just joking, in case he's listening.
So no, anything else, ladies? Anything,
Hang on a second. Oh. Okay. You ready? How can you apply the lesson you learned from that regret to your life today?
Ooh. Oh, my face, I'm like,
do we really have to go there?
Jesus.
I'm just joking. No.
What's the question again?
Okay, so let me walk you through it. Think of the biggest regret you have in your life, right? And if you don't have a regret, like I don't have one, think of the thing that you handled in your life that had you been able to handle it today, you would handle differently.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Right? Which caveat? You remember last week when I told you about the regret about not hugging that person?
Yes.
Okay, so those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, you should have tuned in.
Yeah.
So, make a long story short, somebody I know that I had just met had gone through a difficult situation, and as I was saying goodbye, I had this immediate impulse to give him a hug. But then I was like, no, because I don't want him to think I'm trying to seduce him or anything like that, because it came from a real genuine place, which is really interesting considering the first part of our show when I'm still working on being mushy, right?
Yeah.
So it's interesting to me that I even had the impulse to do that. I'm coming along.
You're coming along,
good
honey.
thing.
So anyway, so I didn't do it. And we spoke about it last week. And I was like, I really regret it. It had happened when we spoke last week. It happened the night prior or 2 nights prior, right? And I was like, it's killing me. It's freaking me out. I don't do regrets. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to handle this. I'm like, I can't have this sitting on my chest right now.
Yes.
So just so you know, I went home and I texted him what I had wanted to do. And that I didn't. And that I said, you need a hug. Okay. And I felt so much better after that.
Nice.
So, no, we're back to 0 regrets. So, in your lives. Okay, she's making the bigger face.
No, I what?
What you say? What?
I didn't do it.
If you had a regret, what have you learned from it? And how would you handle it today?
I'm stubborn. I'm just joking.
No, you are stubborn. Yes.
Yeah, I know. Yes, I know.
There was no jokes.
No, I know. My mother let me know that too. You're a stubborn child. My mother's just like, finally,
we love you anyways, but still.
Regrets.
It's funny we did.
You know what? I'm not too sure. I really have to think. You went deep on this.
Do I ever go? Listen, you know me already. I should have been born in Texas. Go big or go home.
Go home. I
All
know.
in or nothing.
My God, I got to think.
Me too. That's it for us for the Kakle. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Follow us on Twitter. That's at the Kakle. That's KAKLE. To let us know what you think of the show. We will talk to you next week with some more convo, more hanging out. Hey, consider this your weekly ladies' night right here on CKVL. Thank you so much for listening. Bye bye.